Here, my name is Mitchell. In today's episode, I'll be talking about you're not in a relationship, you're on a leash. So I do these YouTube lives every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you guys do find this video content of value, you guys can show your appreciation by donating any amount that you feel is equal to the value of this video. Details will be in the description. And if you guys want to move further ahead and subscribe to my Patreon, feel free to do that too. And thank you for your support. I appreciate it. So today I will be talking about you're not in a relationship, you're on a leash. And so I have a recap episode for you guys, and then I'll have 4 slides I'll be talking about. So the first slide I'll be talking about is the recap, and it's on are you controlling. So I've done previous episodes. So this was one of the previous episodes. Surprisingly, it was the one with Justin too. So it's over on my Instagram. But anyways, the slide was on discussion. So we were just talking about certain things. And so are you controlling? If you're watching this and you're curious about if the person that you're with is controlling or not, here's some ways to kind of spot these, okay? But also, why are they doing it? So the main reason is why. Everybody has a reason for doing something, and everybody will always have a reason for doing something, okay? So when you lack self-control, you may feel the need to control another person. It's a possibility, and every time you succeed in trying to control that person, it helps validate what you just did. So it justifies. So in your eyes, it's like, wow, this worked. This made sense. If I do this again, I will become more successful, right? But just because something works doesn't mean it cannot be improved. And what I mean by that is, look, you might succeed in controlling that person. You might get the outcome that you want. So, Bree, thank you. You might be successful in getting what you want from that. But what's the outcome? Are they willing? Did they feel great about doing that? Like, are they willing to do it again on their own free will? Or otherwise, it always feels like it's gonna be forceful, right? So just because something works doesn't mean it cannot be improved, okay? But I get it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But then also you have to understand what is your intentions behind that. If your intentions was, hey, they did it out of free will, they wanted to do it for you, and you want to reciprocate, that's what a healthier relationship is. But a lot of people, what they don't understand is if they don't get what they want, they start trying to control a person, whether it's vocal, right, verbally abusing somebody, or maybe even sometimes physical harm, right? And I would never suggest that. And it's usually because you lack self-control, okay? So just because something works doesn't mean it cannot be improved. So being open to learn is a great example, and that's one of the most effective ways to become better. But you can't force that process. It's something that will naturally come. And don't be upset that you didn't get it right away, but it's a learning process. So how to operate in a position of strength, right? When you're operating in a position of strength, you always think about what the outcome is, and is it for you or is it for the other person? Hi, Shevelin. So for people that are new, and you're watching this again on a replay, operating from a place of strength means that when you are operating, when, let's just say, your girlfriend or your boyfriend did not respond to you right away, or in the timely manner that you wanted to, and your natural reaction is to say, well, how come they're not responding back to me? They must be doing something, right? So initially you're gonna be like, well, I'm gonna go find out, right? Now when you say I'm gonna go find out, your intentions is, I need to satisfy what I feel right now, so I get some clarification, some certainty, so that I know that they're not ignoring me, right? Because most of the time people are just busy, most of the time, or they're just busy doing their own thing. And that's why, like I said, masculine energy is about just focusing on your mission and your purpose, and you're not too relationship focused. And any guy that focuses too much on relationship will always end up in the less receiving end. they're not, it's not gonna build more attraction, especially from a woman. And the last thing a woman ever needs is another guy that's very needy and pushy, because there's so many of them. There's so many needy guys. You have to separate yourself from the rest of this quote unquote competition. And just because you know this, it already sets you apart from a lot of the other guys, the 95%. You want to be at least the 5% or the 3%. So, relationship or love is about giving, and it's not about controlling another person. It's about giving time and space when needed, but with respect to boundaries. So you always got to set and enforce healthy boundaries. You gotta, if there's something that you're not interested, that bothers you, you gotta voice that, even though that's not something that you like to think about, because what you tolerate, you invite more of. So you got to be really cautious about what's happening. Now, control usually comes from insecurities, but now control isn't necessarily a bad thing. And what I mean by that is, if you have control over the things that you can control, that is absolutely necessary. That is actually really good. But if you don't have emotional self control because of another person's actions, then you're always going to find yourself disappointed, because at that point, happiness becomes this moving target. And so your happiness is dependent on their reaction. And if their reaction isn't the way that you want it, and your expectation is now not met, that's going to cause a lot of disappointment. And you will always find yourself consistently being disappointed. And that's, no one wants to feel disappointed all the time. So that's why it's so important to feel good on your own. If they don't talk to you right away, then you just gauge your level of interest just on that. It means they're losing interest. They don't want to give you their time. So what does that mean? It means that you don't give your time, because time is one thing that you will never get back. Okay? So this is not a tactic. This is not some game, but it's more of, do I have self-respect for myself? And if I do, why would I continue giving my time away to another person that does not reciprocate the same feeling or a same level of enthusiasm? So so like I said, control isn't always a bad thing, as long as you can control your own self, right? So things that you can control is your beliefs, your attitude, your thoughts, your values, right? So those are the things. And whatever circumstances come to you, you get to control your own emotions based off that. Okay? Acting kind of erratic, blowing up, being upset, being perturbed, that doesn't build any attraction. If anything, it reveals who you are and what type of person you are. Okay? So this goes for guys and girls. So ladies, if you're watching this, you want to make sure that, hey, you know what? Just because something doesn't go your way, it doesn't mean that he doesn't care. It just means that he's not satisfying you at the time that you want it, right? So be a little bit patient. And I get it. You know, emotions get the best of all of us. But if you understand this and you let them go and you trust them, if you trust them, and trust is one of the hardest things to get, especially nowadays in this modern era of like dating, Tinder and all these dating apps, right? Everybody's trying to hook up. If you could have a guy that trusts you, why would he ever want to lose something great? And if he does, that's his damn choice, right? So you're setting yourself from the rest of that quote unquote competition, because the reason why I say quote unquote is because it's not going to even be competition at that point. Because it's like you have good character. I let him be. He do his thing. Baby, have fun. Come back. I miss you, whatever, right? I'd love to hear that. Hey, if I'm going out with my boys and I'm going to have some fun, and she tells me to go have fun, if Kiki tells me to, baby, just go have fun, just give me a call when you're free. I'd love to hear your voice. Absolutely. I can't wait to talk to you again. But, it makes me feel good about being with her, right? So you want to make that good feeling of he being with you. It's like, why would I want to screw that up? I just got something great. You know what I mean? But it all comes from self-control, right? And being less defensive. Now, let's see. So when psychologists, okay, so this is a quote that I got. When psychologists isolate the personal qualities that predict positive outcomes in life, they consistently find two traits, which is intelligence and self-control. So what does that mean? It means that So how smart you are and how well you could control yourself emotionally yields to more positive outcomes. I'm gonna say that again, right? So how smart you are and how well you can control your emotions or control yourself yields to more positive outcomes. It means that your life will be drastically better if you know how to control your emotions and if you don't just act erratically. You know what I mean? And it's easy. Everybody gets mad. Like, for example, just you could literally walk down the street and find that someone's upset over something, right? So if you are, so now this is on you now, right? So if you are controlling, okay, if you are controlling and that's all you know, but nothing seems to work out long term for you, then right now is a good time for you to start self reflecting and understand, like, why am I like this? Instead of just burying yourself and, hey, yo, this always worked. I always got what I wanted as long as I scream louder than the other person. That's not going to make another person want to stay. All right. That being said, I'm going to move on to my first slide. I have four. So let's go on to the meat of the topic, right? And the first slide is control leads to chaos, and I can't say this word now. Inevitable. It's inevitable, right? It's inevitable because no one that controls another person ever really succeeds gracefully. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's not willing. They don't want to come back, okay? But hey, you might get what you want short term. Okay, if that's what you want, and this is it's an easier life for you, right? If you want to live a mediocre life, go ahead, keep on controlling people. You're gonna find yourself constantly always getting new people in your life, and then you never really have that quality in your life. So control leads to chaos. This goes for both parties, and a lot of this usually can be rooted back to, like I said before in my recap, to insecurities. You have insecurities. If you need to control somebody because you lack self-control yourself, then you feel the need that you need to control another person, right? So, and feelings of inferiority and scarcity mindset. So number one, you're thinking like, I need to control this person because I lack self-control myself. So I need to make sure that I have some control in my life so that I could validate myself, so that I could feel good about myself. And then number two, you feel inferior. You don't feel like you're good enough, right? And that's one of our biggest fears is feeling of incompetence, right? I'm not good enough. I'm inadequate. And of course you're gonna feel like you don't have a lot in life because you don't. You have a scarcity mindset, so you don't have a lot. So now I gotta hold on to this thing, but this is the best thing I could have, so I'm gonna hold on to it, right? Deep down, I don't feel highly of myself, so of course, what you think about is what starts expanding. So if you think you're not good enough, well, guess what? It's gonna come off into your demeanor. It's gonna come off in your tone of voice, the way you walk, everything. So people could spot that, right? And what was it? 80% of communication is nonverbal. So the way you walk, hey, that's about at least 80%, right? And then 20% is about how you speak up. So whoever that seeks control over the relationship is the one that lacks security from within. Okay. And we all know that there's no such thing as security. So what I mean by that is, look, there's no such thing as job security. You could always lose your job. It's just the probability of it. It may or may not happen depending on which location or where you work at, right? Look at what happened during the pandemic. People didn't think they were going to lose their job. Well, a lot of people did. So there's no such thing as job security. But there is one thing that is security, and that's from within. Security comes from within, and it does not come from without. I want you guys to remember that. Because no matter what, and that's based off you as a person, and that is your character, right? So your character, it does not require the presence of another person. Your character is who you are. Like I said before, if your character is strong enough, and let's just say you're stranded in an island, your character would save you. Because that is who you are. You know how to get out of that situation, right? So your character, very strong. So how are you going to build your character, right? And that becomes your identity. Let's see. So, like I said, no such thing as security. Security is only from within. Okay. And I talked about charm, right? Charm requires the presence of another person in order to charm them, and character requires yourself from within. Okay? So, characters come from within, whereas charm requires the presence of another person. And nobody likes to know that their freedom is being taken away, right? Because control leads to chaos eventually. So, ladies or people in here that's watching, when was the last time that your boyfriend, or or guys, if you're watching, if your ladies was trying to control you? How come you didn't tell me you was going out over here? Oh, you lying, right? And just blowing up your phone, just cussing you out. Did that make you want to stay more in that relationship, or was it like, you know what? Some of his or her behavior is causing me to pull away right now. Like, I don't want to deal with that. It's causing me a lot of headache. I just want to be in a happy, good relationship. But right now, because of her behavior or because of his behavior, it's causing me to pull away, right? Now, I feel like this is what I feel like, okay? Girls, ladies, you could get away with it just a little bit more than what a guy could do. And the reason why is because there's too many guys out there that's willing to drop everything in a drop of a hat just to be with a girl that he doesn't even know. He could fall in love within the second date and say, "Oh, I love you." It's like, yo, you don't even know me like that, right? And it causes a woman to pull away because why? That's feminine energy, okay? And it's her job to express how she feels, and it's how he reciprocates. Okay, if she tells you she loves you, and you feel the same, great, say it. And if you don't say it, And she might be upset because of that, but hey, she might be upset that you don't love her, but she will respect you. At least you're like, he's not lying to me. He's telling me exactly how he feels, and right now he doesn't feel like he loved me. Okay, well, you just gotta accept the fact, right? So, nobody likes the freedom being taken away. So that's why love is about giving. Love is allowing. You're allowing them to come and go as they please. But like I said, you gotta set and enforce healthy boundaries. So that's what's key: setting and enforcing healthy boundaries. Letting them come and go as they please does not mean that you allow them to do whatever the hell they want. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, they could just sleep around and come back to you like it's all good. Like, no. Setting and enforcing healthy boundaries, but you do have to allow them to come back, right? Same thing for the people. Let's just say you're in a long-term relationship. Let's just say 5-10 years, right? And let's just say you guys don't live together yet, and there's going to be highs and lows in your relationship. There will be days where she might not talk to you for a few days. Okay, are you going to be bothered by that? Is that going to frustrate you? Are you going to verify with a course of action that you're going to take just to feel certainty, which is very feminine energy, right? Hey, look, she doesn't want to contact me. I know her level of interest based on that. And if she doesn't want to contact me, that's fine. I'm going to do something else. I'm busy anyways. I got to do things over here. But you're not passive aggressive, right? But when she does come back to you, you ask her, hey, babe, how you been? It's been a little bit. What you been up to, right? Like it didn't bother you. And that's how she's going to test your strength. And when she tests your strength, and if you pass, she gets to feel you, and she gets to feel your strength. And when your lady feels your strength, she feels safe and comfortable to open up to you because she knows that she could trust you. Hey, I'll let him be for a little bit. He's not going to go ballistic, right? And berate me and start yelling at me like my other exes. But instead, it's going to cause her to think like, why isn't he calling me? Like, does he not care? I mean, I let him. Other guys would have did this, but he was fine. And not only that, he was very welcoming, even after 2-3 days, right? It's gonna cause you to be more drawn to him because the reason why you're more drawn to him is because you feel his strength, and he's not bothered by that. He's like, oh, but welcome back, baby, welcome back. Missed you. How are you? Right? So, now in a relationship, and I mean this, you're not obligated to let them know everywhere you go. You don't have to let them know everywhere you gotta go. You don't have to report back. This is not you're not under house arrest. That's what I'm saying. You're not under house arrest. If you want to let them know where you're at, hey, baby, I'm at work right now. I'm gonna go pick up some food. But I'm gonna hang out with the boys for a little bit and then I come back home around this time. Right? But of course, if you say it mean what you say, right? Otherwise, it's gonna be like, can I really take your word seriously? And that's why, if you're not sure, don't say it. And if you are sure and you say it, you better mean it. Okay. So, um, yeah, it is courteous for you to say, but it's not obligated. No one wants to feel like they're obligated to do something, like you have to report back, right? She's not your mommy, right? And if she's insecure because of that, then you got a different problem at hand, and she's insecure on herself. Okay. Now, of course, yes, it is her job to fix her own insecurities, or his, depending on, which party. But also, you want to be supportive of their insecurities. That's how you grow together, right? Hey, babe, what is it that you feel that makes you feel this way? Oh, this is what happened in the past. Well, reassure her. Hey, look, babe, I understand that you got, you got feelings of insecurities from before. I am a different guy. I'm not like your guy. But like I said, when you say, you better mean it, right? If you say you coming back at 9 and you come back at like 10, 11, she can't trust your judgment. So like I said, but then you got to reassure her. And when you reassure her and you back it up with actions, that's how you're going to build trust. That's how you're going to build more rapport. She's going to want to be around you some more. And when a woman loves you, she wants to be with you all the time. She wants all of your time. And so take that like a compliment. Don't be like, leave me alone. It's like, welcome that, okay? Because you know how it goes. Relationship goes up and down. It's never the same. So, and what causes most people, especially most guys, is I don't get it. Like, she was so infatuated with me 2 months ago, but now she's not very, like, I don't get it. Like, what's going on? And then it causes him to feel like he has to do something. We call that illusion of action, or Coach Corey Wayne calls it illusion of action, meaning, oh, I have to do something. I have to do something to cause her to want to come back. Like, no, you don't. You don't. You just got to sit back and hang back. That's it. Okay, Chevelin, you said, but it's okay if you ask the other person to text once you arrive, where you're going, to make sure you got there safe. Yeah. And I think that's fine. Now, you could, but that's through context, right? So if every single time you're asking for that and you're really genuinely feeling, you could feel that, right? Hey, babe, just let me know when you get there safe, versus, hey, let me know when you're there, right? So you see, there's a difference in tone. It means different intentions. And so based off how you say it also matters, right? You ever notice, you know how many fights could be, how many fights did not have to begin in a fight if it was tone? It's always how he said it, right? It's how he said it, or it's how she said it. Why do you got to say things like that? So you got to check yourself, all right? It's very important to check your tone, especially if you're not in a good mood. Don't put it on to another person. But, still, this topic is control leads to chaos. Nothing ever ends well when you're always trying to control another person. So, when a relationship becomes more like a chore and you have to report back, it conveys to the other person, it's like, I don't trust you. But why did you get into that relationship in the first place if you didn't trust that person? Oh, because they did something one time and it caused me to feel like a lack of trust. Well, did you voice that? Or are you just like beating under the bush and trying to like maybe check her phone, or you check his phone or whatever because you're not sure? Talk it out. And now if they're defensive about it, hey, you have a choice. You have a choice on whether or not you want to stay. Do you want to stay with somebody that, you know what, I don't know, all I did was ask you a question because based off this action that you did that caused me to feel a certain way, I didn't, I'm not sure. And if you're not sure, you're trying to clarify. That's where communication comes from. And then when they don't want to communicate like an adult, that's when you're like, you know what, if that's what it is, then I'd much rather not be in this type of relationship. But you have to know your worth to be able to walk away from situations like that. Because if you don't, guess what? You're gonna feel like you know what, let me just hold on to this relationship a little bit longer. Let me just make sure. I know that he's probably not doing anything. And then later on your mind change. Like your mind messes up a lot of the situations that you're projecting onto another person, right? So be sure knowing what you want and having an aim and going for that, that's so important. That's so important. So if you're there in a relationship and you trust them. Don't know in between. And if you don't trust them, then yeah, maybe you could pull yourself away, right? Pull yourself away. Maybe I don't want to be with this person anymore. Yeah, now like I said, it's a lot easier said than done because obviously I'm not in your shoes. And if you're watching this, it's probably because you want some advice. But knowing your worth, understanding the facts of what's been happening, that's going to be your best determining factor on whether or not you're going to stay in that relationship or not. So let's see. So if someone needs to keep tabs on where you're going, keeping track, yeah, the relationship is bound to end. It's only a matter of time. So it's kind of like a ticking time bomb. It's only a matter of time, right? Oh, I don't trust you. Then why are you with me? It's all right. Then stop cussing at me. You know, in the past, I had an ex that just blew up my phone because I was out with some friends, and it's like, yo, for real, you just gonna blow up my phone and then start yelling and cussing me out, saying very disgusting things, right? Whether it's on the phone or through text, it wasn't nice, and it didn't make me want to be in that relationship. And I was like, look, it's probably look, I've never seen you blow up like this. When did all this come from? But like I said, that caused her to reveal who she was, and I was like, look, I don't want to deal with this. This is stupid. I was out with my friend. I told you who was there. If you don't trust me, there's nothing I can do about it. That's on you. That is on you. Of course, that's not something that she wanted to hear, but I was like, look, that's not gonna work if there's no trust. It's not gonna work. And guess what? It didn't work. And so I walked away. Let's see. Chevelin, you said, for me, as long as you tell me you're arriving safe, it gives me peace of mind. And you text me when you leave, and I'm fine with that. Yeah. And I think that's fine too. Like, hey, let me know when you get there, and have fun. Have fun, right? And let them be. Leave them alone. If they're on vacation, let them be. Let them be. Oh, did you have fun? And when they come back, welcome them. Oh, did you have fun? Did you have fun with your friends? Like, how was it? What was your and be genuine, right? What was your most favorite part? What'd you like most? So let's see. So control leads to chaos. And so my next one is on control, right? Which is no one will ever, I want to start with this quote. No one will ever do or say anything that you do not invite them to do. Coach Corey Wayne. The more you the more you tolerate, the more you invite. So when you tolerate this, when you tolerate control, you invite more of it, okay? This goes for both parties. Both. Person that's controlling, the person that's receiving the control. And no one is exempt here. They were controlling. Yes. They're a piece of shit. But you allowed it. You allowed that. Now, whether you allowed it because you didn't know any better, or you allowed it because you just didn't have enough like strength in yourself to walk away from it. Either way, you invited it more, right? You invite more of it. And also, partially because you not knowing got you there. Okay, so you have to understand that. You not knowing got you there because you tolerated it. And that's a hard pill to swallow, right? And it causes you to become more resentful, right? And you're going to have one of the most difficult battles, which is the battle within yourself, because then you gotta humble yourself a little bit. You gotta just shut the F up and just start listening to yourself. Look, Mitchell, yeah, maybe they were a piece of shit to me, but I allowed that to happen. So I'm not exempt here. I need to take the responsibility that, yes, I allowed it and I don't like it, but what's done is done. And how can I move forward with this? And moving forward, I'm just not going to tolerate it. But staying mad at that person isn't gonna solve any problem. Oh, I'm never gonna get my time back. Well, you got experience, so please carry on with that experience and move forward with that, because being upset over something that's already happened isn't going to solve anything. It's only gonna make matters worse, and it's gonna stress you out, and it's gonna cause a lot of people to not want to be around you if you pushing out that type of energy, right? So you're not doing yourself a favor, you're not doing other people around you a favor. This all comes from lack of self-control, right? Being upset about something that's already happened. And like I said, it's easier said than done, but this is more with a clearer conscience that, hey, you know what, if it did happen, how can I move forward with that? Then you become a better problem solver. And when you're more consistent on solving your own problems, you build confidence. And when you build confidence, you build courage, because then you feel like you're more competent on doing that. And you know that, hey, when things go this way, I know I can make myself feel better, or I know how to get myself out of this situation, right? So you're building a lot of resilience, and that leads to positive outcomes, right? By intelligence and self-control. That's what leads to positive outcomes. Okay. Okay. So, like I said, reason why is because you must admit to yourself that you allowed that in your life. You enabled that type of behavior. You allowed it. You enabled it. Right. So, pain plus reflection, or pain and reflection, equals progress. Right. You're feeling hurt. I'm hurt, but I understand why it hurts. So then you're not going to allow it again. Well, I'm not going to allow them to walk all over me again. Okay, there's progress. But pain without reflection is insanity. It's going to happen again, right? So, yes, it is simple, but it depends on which category do you fall in. And humans, we do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. So it's easier to kind of just ignore it, sweep it under the rug, hope it doesn't happen again. It's like, guess what? It's probably going to happen again. And again, unless you do something about it. So, like I said, check how you feel. Remember that nobody is obligated to a certain behavior, no matter if you're in a relationship or not. No one is obligated to a certain behavior. Just because you're my girlfriend, it doesn't mean sex is always on the table. Okay? It means that I still have to court and date you. Yes. Am I allowed more of an access? Of course. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. That's cool. But does it mean you're obligated to that? Absolutely not. It goes for both parties too, right? Even though if you're in a long-term, even if you're in a long-term relationship, it doesn't matter. No one's obligated to a certain behavior. And I said this before, you have no rights to ever change another person. You have no rights. One is unfair to the other person. And just because you feel insecure about yourself and you want them to be a certain way, like, the reason why you get into a relationship is to accept them for who they are and not change them for what you want them to be, of what you're projecting onto them. So what you do have the right is to not tolerate it. So if there's something that you just don't like about it, hey, I didn't know this before I got with you. I guess that was my mistake, right? But I don't know. I didn't know that you smoked. Or maybe she lied to you, whatever, right? But let's just say smoking is one of those things that's a deal breaker for you. Just be like, I don't want to stop you from smoking if that's what you want to do, but at the same time, that's not something that I can subscribe to, because I don't like smoking. You don't need to have a reason. I just don't like it. But if your reason, well, I personally don't like smoking. I can't be with a person that smokes. Okay, but that's just me. Okay, but that's the example, right? What you do have to control over is what you want to tolerate or not. So signs that you are being controlled, and I guess this is something that maybe some of you guys could relate to. I know I could relate to this. I got this from Psychology Today. They have 20 signs your partner is controlling. I only chose 10 because I didn't want to flood you guys with information. But maybe you guys could relate to this. And if you are, these are, it's not just one. If it happens more than once, then chances are you should take a look into your relationship a little bit more serious and be like, okay, maybe this person is a little bit controlling. Maybe I should distance myself. Maybe I should not be with this person. Okay. So number one, they isolate you from your friends and family, meaning their time with you, like they could control you, but yet they could still do something else with their friends or family, right? Isolating friends is usually related to opposite sex too, right? Assuming that you're in a heterosexual relationship, and they're like, no, you're mine. You can't spend more time with them. You have to spend more time with me. One is controlling, right? It's very controlling. This is the topic. And so number two is chronic criticism, especially for small things. So it's no big deal, right? So a lot of us like to justify why they did it. Oh, it's no big deal, right? I only dropped a fork. It's no big deal. Whatever. They just yell at me. Like, no one deserves that type of behavior. It's no big deal. I should have been more careful. No one's perfect. Okay, it's fine. You could drop a fork. Just pick it back up. It's no big deal. We can move on with our day. And okay, and the third one is threats against you or them. So one is, if you leave me, I'm going to do this to you, right? That's one. Or they're causing self-harm. If you leave me, I'm going to cut myself. And if I get hurt, it's on you. That's your fault. But I think I already told you guys about this once. And if anybody ever said that to me, I'm like, it has nothing to do with me. I was like, look, am I an asshole for feeling like this? Look, I'm gonna cut myself if you leave me. All right, go ahead. That's fine. You need help. Maybe I should call this hotline for you, because this is on you. I'm not cutting you. You want to do it yourself. This is not. Yeah. Am I an asshole? Am I an asshole for feeling like that? Sometimes I feel like it, but also at the same time, I'm like, no, it's not me. That's you. It's not you. It's me. Like, no. It's not me. It's you. So number 4 is making acceptance, carrying attraction conditional. For example, you're much hotter if you wore this, or you look so much better if you did that, right? You right now, basically saying you right now is not good enough. You right now is not good enough, and you right now is not good enough is the common denominator. It means that I'm trying to control some of the things that, hey, look, you need to do this, or if you did that, you would be a lot whatever, right? If you worked out more consistently, right? Number 5, an overactive scorecard. So beware of these type of people that keeps track of all the things that they did for you, right? Keeping tally of everything, whether to hold a grudge against you or to get a favor from you in the future. Let me know if you're watching this on the replay or the live. Let me know if this has ever happened to you, any of the 5 that I've went over so far. And if you have, how did you deal with it? But yeah, an overactive scorecard, keeping tallies on everything, whether to hold a grudge or get you to do a favor. So and number 6, using guilt as a tool. Using guilt as a tool, right? If you really cared about me, you do this. You do this, right? I'm trying to guilt trip you. I guess they call it also gaslighting too, right? Number 7, creating a debt you're beholden to. Okay, I don't know why they use that word, beholden to. So creating an expectations of you giving something in return, or you owe them something. So like taking you out to nice meals and all this, only because they want something from you in return in the future, right? Oh, you didn't say this when I did that. It's like, okay, for real? So yeah, like you owe them something all the time. So people that are controlling, they would like to use those against you. So be careful with that. Be careful with that. Personal experience. Okay. An overactive jealous accusations or paranoia, right? So this is where they violate boundaries, and then they justify by saying I've been hurt before. So that's another form of what of another person trying to control you is they violate your boundaries, and then they try to justify why they did it. Okay. Oh, I've been hurt before. I have trust issues, or these are the standards for me, right? These are my standards. Oh, if you're not doing anything wrong, then you shouldn't mind showing me your phone or something like that. It's like, well, if you trust that person, are you gonna go through the phone and check everything to make sure that they're not cheating or whatever on you, right? And if you have your doubts, like I said, eventually it will be revealed, okay? Whether it's in the demeanor or the way they act, and if they start acting a little bit more distant and they're they're not around you more often, yeah, you can have your you could be skeptical, but assuming that that person is gonna cheat on you, right? Oh yeah, I'm gonna catch them in the act. It's like, all right, sure. If a person wants to cheat on you, they're gonna cheat on you no matter what. There's nothing that you could do about it. And locking them down and controlling them isn't gonna make it more fun on your end. Maybe you could be a good detective, but it's not gonna make you feel any better. Uh, oh, actually only got 9. So, the inability on or unwillingness to ever hear your point of view. Okay, so they what you say don't matter. You just have to listen to what I say because what I say means more than what you have to say, right? Um, so what you say doesn't matter because my needs are not met. That's basically a person that's controlling. This is what I'm not getting, and this is what I'm not receiving, or what you're not giving, right? And so in a relationship, it's about giving and walking away from those that you don't want to tolerate. And so that's the most important part is to walk away from knowing your worth and being able to walk away when certain things that you don't want to tolerate. It's like, look, that shit just does not fly with me no more. You can't. I don't tolerate this. I don't. And so that's what you can do. What you cannot do, or what you shouldn't do, is to try to control that person. It's unfair. Trying to change them is unfair, right? Or they will change. Yeah, that's usually doesn't happen. People just don't change magically. Okay. It usually takes a lot of either inspiration or desperation. And that comes from within, right? That security will come from within. So, want to tolerate and know your desire elsewhere. Okay. So I have lastly, on this last slide, I'm going to offer you guys solutions to it, right? So now that you have signs that you're gonna be that you are, or that they are controlling, and you know that control leads to chaos. What are some of the solutions that you have, right? Some of the solutions are you got to voice your concerns and follow through with it. Voice your concerns and follow through with it. If they are unwilling to communicate, you stop talking to them. And if they don't want to listen to you, stop talking to them. That's the best way to remove yourself. And if that person is manipulative, what do they call that? They're just manipulative people, or narcissists, right? I heard this. I think it was like Lewis House. He was doing an interview with some psychologists, and one of them said the best way to remove, like to resolve this, is completely remove yourself from talking to that person. That's the best way that you can remove. Like, instead of getting like it bits and pieces from it, you just completely remove your look. Obviously something's not going to change. I've tried communicating with you. You're unwilling to change. You're set in your ways. I'm not going to try to change you because that's not my job. And it's like I said, it's unfair for you as a person, because I think everybody deserves to be who they want to be, but I have a choice on who I want to be around. And you're not the person I want to be around, because obviously nothing's ever changed. So I'm just gonna politely remove myself, and I don't need to talk to you. I don't need to talk to you. And if they feel insecure and they start berating you and start yelling at you over certain nonsense and try to control you and try to guilt trip you, that's on them. That's exactly, you see what you're doing here? That's exactly why I don't want to talk to you anymore. Okay? So, voicing your concern and follow through with it. And if they don't communicate, pull yourself away. Let them know, hey, look, it was great knowing you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't. Um, and also, so the solution is that follow through with that, and then also continue to grow your reserve of knowledge so you can become the person you want to attract. Okay, you want to become the person you want to attract. So if you want a person that trusts, you could trust. If you want a person, well, maybe it could be as shallow as possible. You want a very fit person. Okay, sure. Are you fit yourself? You want a person that you could trust. Okay, are you trusting? Can they trust you, or are you doing shit on the side that's causing the other person to always have like, do I have to sleep with one eye open? That I can't trust. And that's why what you value is so important. Similar goals, similar values, and that's how you could pair up a lot better. But you can't be there, or you can't ask for that if you're not there yourself. Okay, so kind of like what Justin said earlier in the Instagram live, right? If you want a person of a different stature, but you're not even there athletically, how can you expect another person to be there to meet your standards if you're not even there yourself? So continue to grow your reserve of knowledge so you can become the person you want to attract. Now, the subcategory is, it's not your fault you deserve better. If it's not your fault you deserve better if they want to stay below their potential. That's on them. Okay? If the fact that you're here, you want to become better for yourself. And I know it. The reason why is because this is an hour-long video and you're consistently here. You know who you are. So, it's not your fault that you deserve better. It's not your fault. Okay? You will be challenged though. So know that during all this, you will be challenged. Okay? You will be challenged and be thrown into many type of circumstances. So, be prepared. Be prepared. And you can't change life circumstances, but you can change the way on how it affects you. Okay? So is the cup half full? Is it cup half empty? How is that going to bother you? So that's where educating yourself is going to be very, very helpful. Be less defensive. That's one of the best ways to be less aggressive, is be less defensive. You don't have to be defensive. Just be like, hey, okay, let's try to figure this out together. Let's, dissolve whatever is happening right now. Let's kind of keep it down, and let's try to figure out why we're upset. And I know that is way easier said than done. But if you build a lot of emotional resilience, right? Emotional regulation, that's going to be possible. But you got to be aware of what is happening. Okay? So educate yourself, be less defensive, and be aware of what is happening. Why are you arguing? What's the biggest common denominator from this? Oh, the common denominator is this keeps happening every time, and I keep telling you all this, and I don't want it to sound like a broken record. So I don't want it to happen again. And if it does, I'm out. I'm out. And this is not a threat. You're not trying to threaten that person that you're going to leave the relationship. But it might come across as a threat because you mean it. But it's also like, look, I don't want to tolerate this anymore. It's like, oh, but you did before. Well, I've changed, okay? Why? Because I improved myself. I consistently wanted to become better, and I deserve better. And if you're gonna berate me and belittle me and guilt trip me and doing all this, and you're trying to control my life, I want to live my life not under yours, but under mine. Okay? And you have to trust that you could trust me. You're gonna have to trust that. So, now, also pulling away from that situation is very important, right? If it doesn't need to be answered right away, disengaging from it and returning back to it when you're in a more peaceful state, that's going to allow you to think a lot better. Going to allow you to respond better instead of reacting out of emotions. But remember, the most important thing is to go back to it when you are feeling better. Not, oh, nothing ever happened. It's like, no. It still happened. We just need to resolve it right now. And can we do that? Can we talk about it? I know it's not comfortable, but we need to talk about it so it doesn't happen again, so that we can move forward with it. Otherwise, conflict delay, right? Jordan Peterson said it. Conflict delay. Basically, it keeps stacking and stacking and stacking. When the weight gets so heavy, it is unbearable for you to hold on to. Life pressures you. You starts exploding. You start bringing all these things in. Everything gets out of hand, right? And it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. It's because of conflict delay. You keep sweeping it under the rug. It's like a virus. It just stacks and it gets bigger. And it just because you don't see it doesn't mean shit don't smell. Okay, so it's better. I don't like conflict. I'm gonna tell you guys this. I don't like conflict. I don't. But if I see something that I don't like, I'm going to talk to you about it. It means that I'm going to communicate to you. But you have to allow me that chance to communicate with you. And of course, I'm very cautious about like, okay, is that person in a good mood? Is there a better way, right? I'm not gonna talk to them when they're already pissed off. Hey, you're mad now. Let me talk to you about this situation that I don't really like. No, I'm gonna make sure. Hey, you remember the other day? This is what happened. I want to bring it up, and if they still don't want to talk, well, at least I tried. At least I tried. But I don't like conflict. But what I do know is that if it's not resolved, it's only gonna get bigger. And life is already difficult enough. I don't need it to multiply and start stacking, if you know what I mean. So I don't like conflict, but I do like to resolve the problem because I do know it's going to be a lot better if I solve it than leaving it there for the next day or next month. Okay. So lastly, I just want to talk about this, which is, what you fear, you attract. Okay. And what you look at disappears. And face what's uncomfortable, just like conflict, especially if you don't like confrontation. It is even more important that you face that. So, Shevelin, I'm not sorry to call you out on this, but if there's certain things like I'm not saying that these are conflicts, but it's like, hey, if you're out and they messed up on maybe a drink of yours, hey, I didn't order this. Would you mind making a new one? That will help you build more confidence into approaching it next time, so that it prepares you for something bigger in the long run, right? So, yeah, I'm calling you out on that one. But yeah, it's usually not as bad as what your mind projects. So just remember that. If they made the wrong drink for me at Starbucks, and I'm thinking like, oh, if I bring this up to them because they made my wrong drink, if I bring it up to them, they're gonna do something to my drink, or they might be upset, or they might not like me as much. And chances are they're usually okay with that as long as you're nice to them about it, right? And hey, excuse me, this is not the drink that I ordered. Would you please mind, making me this, or making that drink that I ordered? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me do that for you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Right? And then move on and continue on. Yeah, Besides that, how's your day been? Right? How's your day been? Oh, it's been good. Okay, yeah. What you worked at Starbucks for so long. What's your favorite drink? What do you enjoy most? Or are you the type of person that worked here for so long that you just enjoy drinking ice water? That's me. Yeah. Oh, how do you know? Yeah. But I think that's very important. And the reason why I'm saying that to you right now, because I don't like to sugarcoat shit, and I like to keep it real. And if I see something, I will call you out on it. But of course, it's always for your own growth and your opportunity to become better than you are. But I don't see that as a big thing. But what I'm more cautious of is if you're not willing, or if you're unwilling to approach something so small, when bigger things arise, how are you going to solve that? How are you going to confront that? And taking action breeds confidence and courage. Inaction breeds fear and doubt. So the less you do it, you're gonna have more fear. You're gonna be more doubtful. But the more you do it, the more willingness, the more confidence that you will have into doing that. So, and I think that's why it's so important to understand that, and not like, oh, it's just a drink. Like, oh, it's just a small lie, right? If they're willing to lie about the small things, they're going to lie about the bigger things. So it's about building that type of resilience, right? Building that fundamental for yourself, so that you have more confidence when things do come up, and be like, look, no, like, It doesn't mean you have to be rude about it. You just got to let them know, right? And it's usually, and like I said, our mind is designed to protect us, right? Oh, if I do this, they might get mad at me, right? If they get mad at me, are they going to kill you? No, they're probably not, right? So if they're not, then yeah, then your mind is, it always thinks of the worst case scenario, right? And it's like, well, if you're always going to be in that type of mindset, that's what you focus on, and you always focus on a worst case scenario. That's where most people reside, right? That's where they think. They never do anything. They would never do it, and of course, their life is paid for them. It's paved, and they will end up not getting anything in the future because they're like, well, everything is always like this, and what's the point, right? And it's like, well, you never took a risk, so how do you know, right? And how I know about this is I was once very, very afraid of being in front of a camera, right? What would they think about me? Oh my god, if I wore the same shirt, right? Stuff like that. Like, I obviously don't care, right? I have wrinkles on my shirt. I know I should probably invest into an iron or one of those steamers, but I don't have one right now. I should. But yeah, it's like having all these talks, like just do it. Just go for it, right? And one of my proudest moments actually was when surprisingly, was when I was a senior in high school. I actually went up to the girl that I had zero game. I don't even think I have game now, okay? But I walked up to her during, I think it was Valentine's Day? Very corny, okay? I get it. Valentine's Day. But my mindset at that time was, if I don't ask her, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life, knowing that I never tried. So Mitchell, would you rather just get it over with? Or would you rather live with the fact that, what if? Okay? So I did. And guess what happened? She said yes. Congratulations, Mitchell. Your outcome, you did it, and you got what you wanted. Well, guess what? She ended up flaking on you. It's all good. Shit happens. Some excuse. That's fine. And then, but at the end of the day, I walked away knowing that I didn't regret that feeling. And that was in high school. Okay. And if you date back to all the things that you regret, like if you would have just did it, how much different would your life be? How much different would your life be? Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate you. And thank you for your support too, man. Appreciate it. It's helping me a lot. But yeah, what's your story? What do you want to do? Right? Going for that. And it's usually because of we fear rejection a lot. Okay? We fear the rejection. That's why when I'm at someone's house, I ask to use the restroom. Couldn't regret not asking about it. I have no problem bombing a bathroom if I have to. Matter of fact, at the gym, yeah, okay, used it a couple times. It's one of those one stall bathrooms, and guess what? I walked out. Some person walked in, and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Give it at least 5 minutes, okay? If you want to protect your nose, or unless you just want to breathe through your mouth, which is nasty. Like, why would you want to potentially taste what the air tastes like? That's nasty. I'm keeping it real. I'm protecting you. Look, I just took a fat ass shit in that toilet. You should not go. I don't know this person, but I'm keeping it real. And people appreciate authenticity. Yo, I just took a big ass shit in there. You should not go in there. There's another single stall bathroom. Here, let me take you there. Matter of fact, I need to get water anyways. Let's go. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. We're all human. You take shit. I take shit. You're probably going in there for a different reason. I don't know, and I don't care. But I'm here for you. I got your back. Okay? And I hope you got mine too. Right? And then we just became friends. Rejection is nothing to be afraid of. Easier said than done. It is. Absolutely. No, yeah. Happens to the best of us. Especially if you don't feel like you're in the mood, right? So, but at the end of the day, like I said, I don't think I have a lot of game. I'm just very honest with what I have to say. That's it. I'm just honest. That's what, and the reason why I say that is because me being honest does not require a lot of energy. I don't need to put up this front. I don't need to put up this front of who I'm not, right? So that's why a lot of people are like, yo, it's difficult to get a job. I was like, I don't think it was ever difficult. It's like, why? Oh, you just good in interviews. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just me. Here's my credentials. This is what I have. This is what I did. And do you like my personality? Yeah. And also I'm curious about well, they give you tips and tricks online too, right? On YouTube and all that. But it's really like, well, how do you see this company in the next few years? Because I want to make sure that you succeed, because when you succeed, I succeed, and when we both succeed, we succeed together. And success is never crowded along the extra mile. Most people just end up not doing it because they give up too early. Let's see. The game can be not having game. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just, hey, and here's the thing too. I know that whoever I talk to, I know most people don't like you. I just know that. They don't vibe with you. Hey, maybe I don't like Asian boys like that. All right, cool. Shit. It's all good. Hi, nice to meet you too. I hope you have a great day. And I'm okay with that. But a lot of people, they take rejection too personally. And they're like, oh man, then there must be something wrong with me. Like, no, but maybe you can improve on some. Maybe it's the approach. Maybe you went into aggressive. Maybe you should have walked into the side. You know what I mean? But whatever it is, it's, you got to learn how to be yourself, but improve on being yourself instead of trying to become someone that you're not, because then you're trying to put up this front, and it's very draining. Very draining. And that's why most people, and when you're so comfortable about being yourself around other people, especially in a crowd or a room that you don't know, and you just being yourself, some people might like you and a lot of people might not. But you're also gonna get the other people. It's like, who this person think he is or she is, right? Who do you think they are? It's because they feel insecure about themselves, and they're unwilling to really kind of expose who they are and be vulnerable, because they're afraid that who they really are might not be accepted. But like I said, security comes from within, and it does not come from without. And if I'm secure with me being myself, then I'm gonna be myself. Look, I just took a big ass shit in that toilet. Don't go in there. Don't go in there unless you got a cold, and you might not breathe in. You might not be able to breathe that well. Okay. Be centered. Be honest in it. That's what it means to be yourself. But I also understand that not a lot of people have that type of confidence in that. And it means how do you build that confidence? By doing it, taking action. You gotta, but you also have to learn to let a lot of the resistance that you have in your past go, so that you can move forward easier. You don't have resistance. You don't have things pulling you back, right? So it's so yes, it is important to move forward, but it is just as important to let go of some of the things, right? So same thing. If you have controlling people in your life that is drawing you down and pulling energy away from your mental bandwidth every day, then maybe letting some of them go or keeping a very far distance will save you a lot of mental capacity, so that you could operate in a much better place. And then you will be better company for other people, and more people will be more willing to want to work with you because you're in a good mood, right? And on top of that, you build resilience. And when you build that resilience, it's like, hey, look, just because something doesn't go my way, it doesn't mean I'm gonna blow things out of proportion. It's like, look, it's fine. I'll deal with it. It's not something that I want, but it's okay. It's okay. I could deal with it. But anyways, how's your day been? Because at the end of the day, the best relationship are the ones that could share each other. Like, hey, what are some of your hobbies? What are some of the things that you like doing? Oh, okay, you like boxing. I see you beat the shit out of that bag the other day. Do you fight people? Because if you do, and I like to go to bars, and I sometimes when I drink, I get a little erratic. So, I feel safe around you, right? Everybody gets a good laugh out of that, whatever, right? But it's about being able to understand another person, because everyone's favorite subject is about themselves. right? You ever notice if you ever talk to somebody, the moment you talk about yourself too long, they lose interest, right? So, how well can you listen? And that's a very important skill to have. Um, and not a lot of people could give that because everybody needs they need a lot of validation, right? And to justify, to feel validated in this world so that they can feel important. But the moment you realize that you're just not a you I'm not that important, I'm not I'm not that important. Then you start realizing like, look, how you been? And then more people will just naturally come your way. But anyways, that is all that I have for the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Today's episode was you're not in a relationship, you're on a leash. And I hope you're not on a leash. And if you are keeping someone on a leash, I want you guys to reflect on that. Maybe it's time to change the way you're treating other people, because chances are it's not working very well for you. And that's why you're here. But anyways, I catch you guys on the next episode. I'm gonna see you guys on Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific time. Till next time, I see you. All right, peace.